A compelling detective story, a cloak and dagger action, and a romantic drama, all these stories were taken from real life. The history of Kazakhstan is inseparable from the world history. Reflections on history, our version.
The Kargali Diadem. The one who once was a beauty, princess, bride, and probably a witch slept in a dense natural boundary under the bank of a dirty river under huge blue boulders of 2,000 years. Everything around her was veiled in mystery and darkness. Was it an ancient burial ground or a place where a murder was committed? Was it a shaman's ritual, a crime, or a tragic accident? You can see the Kargali diadem here. It consists of two plates. It is made from gold and inlaid with turquoise, coral, and precious stones. The most famous exhibit which witnessed a few mysterious and tragic stories. It is the Golden Hall of the Central State Museum in Almaty. Our diadem is one of the 3 best diadems in the world. A witch was buried there. It is quite possible that the owner of this item was kidnapped. Chapter 1. The Awakened Artifact. Comrade Nazarenka found bones of a person and set of gold items accounting to 300 by chance. The skeleton was found in a cave crevice and was disturbed significantly. What does the story about the diadem say? Supposedly, the Kargali village dwellers found a burial ground of a person belonging to the rank of shamans. Supposedly, it was in the 2nd century BC, and probably she was a shaman from the Wusun tribe. Everything is supposed in the story. In 1939, Nazarenka, who was a worker of the Kargali cloth mill, was walking together with some guests who had arrived to share their experience. Being not far away from the cloth mill, they were walking along the Kargali river. A Nazarenka electrician decided to show them the neighborhood. By the way, the registration certificate says about this object. They went up a mountain and found themselves near a place called Manashokti. There was an interesting stone ledge which remained a cap peak. Then it started raining. They had to look for shelter. They decided to wait under a rock ledge until the weather improved and saw kind of an entrance to a cave. There were piles of stones. He said that when he had been talking about the Kargali area, he touched those little stones lightly and suddenly gold jewelry started falling from the pile. It is known when the artifacts were discovered, Yuri Dombrovsky, the writer in exile, worked as a curator in the Almaty Local History Museum, situated in a cathedral. The diadem was brought there. He, as an employee, was connected with various documents. In addition, the story about that find was based on evidence given by him. He wrote about it in a form of literary work, which did not always demand exact facts. A beautiful young witch wearing a veil and a gold crown rides a winged dragon in the sky and leaves a fiery track. Then an unknown person kills her. She was not buried or mourned, a burial mound was not built, and a headstone was not erected. On the day of the wedding, she suddenly disappeared. Archaeologists went to that river where they collected the rest of the gold jewelry, but that place the items were found was not examined thoroughly. Investigators interrogated everyone who was connected to the find in 1939. Actually, it was an ordinary procedure. Someone brought the gold, they had to find out where they had got it and check if they concealed anything. It is said where the victims related to this story remains unknown, whether they really had to be punished or were innocent. Chapter 2. The Picture of the Universe. The The ornament on the famous gold diadem was produced in a style of typical late Scythian period. The gold is ornamented with turquoises, which were considered magic gems in ancient times. Most probably a model of the universe is depicted on it. It is based on ancient legends related to the world of the dead, spirits and all of the living beings. It is the most surprising Kartgali find. The gold strip consists of two parts. Their length together is 35 centimeters. The central part is absent, but it probably was about 7 centimeters long. There must be the absent fragment here. A tree is depicted on it. It must portray the tree of life. There is a flying bird, probably a phoenix, a winged tiger, and we see a side view of a person sitting on it. His hair is waving, or it can be a nomad's hat similar to the golden man's one. The jacket is also similar to it, but it is covered with feathers. A similar bird person sits on a mountain goat. Here we see the emblems of happiness and well-being, the emblems of the sky and the earth, which were closely connected with the shamanic conceptions of the nomadic Turkish people. It is typical that there are no domestic animals on the diadem, where there are mainly birds, a flying tiger, a winged horse, a dragon, and a bird-like people. Some scientists call them demons or meditative shamans who fight with evil spirits, turn into birds and fly into the sky. It is interesting that one of the so-called demons is drinking juice of a plant stem, probably as an intoxicating drink. It was used during rituals in order to become intoxicated and meditate. According to a version, the depictions of winged people are associated with immortal dwellers of the heaven for Taoists. A dragon is depicted on the edge of one part too. It is a completely special dragon. It was not born under the sky of India or southern China. It was somewhere near present-day Alma-Ata. Indian and Chinese dragons look like vipers and serpents, while this one is a cat or a tiger. It has a tiger's tail which is fluffy and quivering. Such tigers roamed the Balkhash reeds in the 1930s. The composition of the gold from which the diadem was made was different to all of the other items. In some archaeologists' opinion, it was imported from China, where it had been made by skillfully Chinese artisans. Most probably they received an order from the Wusun rulers. All the other jewelry items, including tooth rings on which camels were depicted, could be made from local craftsmen. Probably a Chinese influence played its role here. However, when they saw the ring with the image of a double-humped camel on a shaman's finger, it immediately proved beyond doubt that it was our material and it was made in Jetsu. Another jewel with a mysterious image was found in the burial ground too. It is an earring showing a scene of torment. A boar is attacking a person. According to Berstam's first version, a mouse attacked him. Was it a giant mouse or a boar? In mythology of that time, the latter appeared more often. It symbolized thunder and might combat power. The beast does not get its teeth into the human body by mere chance. It tries to get to the liver, which according to ancient beliefs was a sacred part of our body. There is a Kazakh wedding ritual. When marriage agreement is concluded, both parties eat a ritual dish. It is called kurik baur. Kurik is tail fat and baur is the liver. Here we can see the wordplay in the Kazakh language. Baur means both brother and liver. Thus, after eating this dish, both parties become relatives.
Баур – это брат, баур – это печень. Что съедая это блюдо, обе стороны становились родственниками.
There is one more superstition. The images on the diadem show a ritual dedicated to the god of fertility, Dionysius, also known as Bacchus. Thus the girls were Bacchantes. It was a Greek cult of merging with nature, which, as they say, spread among the Wusun tribe. The main animals of Dionysius were deer and goat and a bear. We can see all of them on the diadem. According to the Greeks' beliefs, geese and swans symbolize fertility and horses were symbols of the sun. However, a dragon was not included in this list.
Те элементы отражают, насколько тесными были связи.
Those elements reflect how close the connection between people of that time and the Persian, Iranian and Chinese worlds and other regions were.
Китайским миром, в целом с другими регионами.
Chapter 3: Area of the Unknown. According to one version, the owner was a young girl who was dressed in ceremonial garments. This girl was killed and then was taken approximately 100 kilometers away and buried.
Диадема, она предполагает все-таки...
The diadem suggests a certain social rank of its owner. She is at least could be a ruler or a ruler's daughter.
Или же дочери правителя.
The rulers of the Wusun tribe had wide cheekbones, red hair and blue eyes. They lived in Semirechye from the 2nd century BC. However, probably they were Samaritans, whose tribe was that girl from. She was born there or she brought from a distant country. This version is a criminal and romantic. It is doubtful that it could be real. How could they kidnap a young princess or a priestess from the palace during the wedding ceremony? Moreover, covering 100 kilometers in ancient times meant they had to ride a horse for about 24 hours without making any long breaks. They saw that the girl was lying over the horseback and they brought her in this position over a huge distance. It is unknown whether she was already dead or drugged. In addition, it is unknown if that person even was a girl. Scientists confirmed that a man could wear those clothes too. The skull from the burial ground was lost. Thus, now it is impossible to determine whose skull it actually was. Anyway, the majority hold the opinion that it was a young girl at the age of 25. Archaeologist Bernstam, who was the first to examine the skeleton and jewelry, also thought so. Anthropological analysis of the bones has not yet been carried out, so we don't know how young she was. Some people say that a mountain leopard attacked this woman, crushed her and dragged her under a stone. However, the diadem is in thin pieces of metal earrings, heavy ceremonial clothes, and the bride's clothing in general were not supposed for walking. According to others, the person who lies under the stone never wore either the diadem or the rings. She just stole them from another woman, probably her mistress, and was running away when the leopard attacked her. If it was not a leopard and she was killed, why did they take the gold? Maybe someone killed her in a fit of jealousy. Maybe it could be a ritual murder and they did not dare to take those items because of fear.
В них был заложен какой-то...
They had some sacred meaning, and because of that, people who committed that crime could not take those items.
Совершили, да, это покушение, просто присвоить эти предметы себе.
However, Bernstam claimed it was a typical burial ground because the sorcerers and shamans were not buried. Their bodies were hidden in remote, inaccessible places. People were afraid of shamans. They were afraid of their power and feared that they could exert influence on them and their consciousness. All people had this prohibition. This is why shamans weren't buried in public cemeteries. Epilogue. The story is to be continued. People call her one of the most mysterious finds. It's not expected that this mystery will be cleared up anytime soon. It is not even known where exactly she was buried. There are no photos or exact descriptions. The time passes, but the number of unanswered questions remains the same. If we specifically talk about the Kargali diadem, about this find, you'll see what was hidden. But why was it hidden? How was it hidden? How did it happen? And who participated in it? As you can see, we have many questions. The evidence provided by the contemporaries and witnesses are contradictory. For example, they claim that Dombrovsky was arrested and remanded in custody for a few months because of this diadem. The Faculty of Unnecessary Things is a book which the main character's destiny is the same as Dombrovsky's. Its plot is based on the Kargalay find. It seems that this story has a sequel.